So good morning, everyone, and thank you for joining us this morning for an introduction to the Sustainable Library Certification Program. We have a great presentation prepared for you this morning. We're going to talk about the Sustainable Library Certification Program and discuss with our panelists, guests, their experiences going through certification. My name is Alex Blend. I'm the Sustainability Coordinator for the Sustainable Libraries Initiative. Working here at the Suffolk Cooperative Library System in Suffolk County, Long Island, New York. It's great that you all could join us this morning. And I want to give a special shout out to all of our partner library associations. You can see your logo listed here, the Association for Research Libraries, Iowa Library Association members, Maine Library Association, Massachusetts, New Jersey, New York, and Virginia as well. You're most likely here to hear about the free Sustainable Libraries Initiative membership that's available to you as members, as well as the discount that you can get on the Sustainable Library Certification Program. I also want to give a special shout out to members of the Sustainability Roundtable, Sustain RT. This group provides resources for the library community to support sustainability through curriculum development, collections, exhibits, events, advocacy, communication, library buildings, and space design. Sustain RT is open to all ALA members and will include both individual members and organizational members. Thank you all for being here today. So we're going to start by just talking about giving a little background information on the Sustainable Libraries Initiative and the resources that are available, as well as, of course, the certification program, which is our main topic. So the Sustainable Libraries Initiative launched in 2015 as a community of practice for library leaders interested in addressing issues related to climate change, community resilience, and securing a vital, vibrant, and visible place in the community on campuses for you academic libraries and in school libraries. Libraries of all different types, geographic locations, and size are perfectly positioned to support and take a leadership role in promoting sustainable practices within their building, embedding it in their culture, as well as outside of the library within our communities. Oh, that's not good. Sorry about that, folks. An easy way to begin the journey towards being a sustainable library is promoting a refreshed mindset, making informed decisions, thinking practically and intentional, and being intentional with your actions. Thinking about the big picture can certainly seem daunting, but it's important to remember that every little step helps, leading towards a sustainable future. And we'll talk more about that big picture seeming daunting as we go along. So sustainable libraries are strong and authentic institutions that live their values out loud, catalysts for social cohesion and civic participation in communities, working on climate mitigation, reducing those greenhouse gas emissions, and are active participants in climate adaptation. The triple bottom line concept, which is best depicted by the Venn diagram you see here, which is also represented on the SLI website and behind me on the wall. The concept is to be truly sustainable. To be truly sustainable, an organization must embody practices that are environmentally sound, socially equitable, and economically feasible. So as we mentioned before, the Sustainable Library Certification Program, as members of your library organization or association, you are entitled to a 20% discount for individual libraries. And for cohorts of 5 libraries or more, you're eligible for a 25% discount. The Sustainable Library Certification Program itself, as you can see depicted here in the nice little screenshot we got here is a step-by-step format broken down into sections A through M. You're provided guidance from a mentor, and we will be speaking to some of those mentors in a little bit. You have built-in resources and connection to a community of practice of other library members who are also going through the certification program. Here is a snapshot of the different sections and the different areas that are addressed within the certification program. Again, these slides will be shared following this presentation, so I'm not going to go through each one of them, but we will make sure that you get these slides afterwards. This is a snapshot of the action item form, and you'll see that they are at the top there, action items and responses. These are not questions and answers. There's no wrong way to answer or to respond to an action item. Every library is going to have a different response because we're all from different communities, all have a different makeup of our staff and our communities. So our library boards. So there's no wrong way to respond to an action item. And this gives you a kind of snapshot of what you'll see within each of those sections going through the certification program. Some of the resources that are available to our members are a custom CO2 calculator, which can help you to track your greenhouse gas emissions and see where improvements can be made. This custom CO2 calculator translates your usage into metric tons, and that way you can kind of track your usage over a period of time that you designate. Another resource is the recently released National Climate Action Strategy for Libraries Implementation Guide. And you see the link at the bottom of the slide there if you'd like to view it or download it. The National Climate Action Strategy for Library provides a clear direction on where emphasis is necessary to move beyond good intentions to meaningful impacts. And it's focused on the three areas you see there: climate mitigation, climate adaptation, and climate justice. This document here essentially is a blueprint, a blueprint to help libraries create their own climate action plan for their libraries. Definitely suggest taking a look at that. A big part of the framework of the Sustainable Library Certification Program is telling your library's story. The final section of that action item form that I showed you earlier is submitting your certification presentation. And as members, you'll have access to past libraries certification presentations. You can see here, South Huntington, Longwood, and Lindenhurst libraries, their certification presentations are all on our website and able to view. But once completing the certification program, this is something that members it's the final step, something that you'll do, and this is a great way to tell your story, to market to potential grant folks, potential investors, to get money. Also provides you a great way to tell your story, to network with your community. And essentially, once completed with the certification program, the journey is not over. So we hope that members will become an SLI ambassador to their peers and possibly become mentors or become presenters for future SLI webinars and events and programs. Each member is assigned a mentor, and the mentor will help you on your journey towards certification. They provide advice and support and help you, with your expectations, and ultimately will be your cheerleader, helping you through your journey towards becoming certified sustainable. We also have monthly SLCP meetups, which are typically held on the first Thursday of each month at 1 p.m. Eastern. These meetups allow members to connect with one another discuss a specific topic within the certification program. We have listservs, Facebook group, which is pretty robust. We are scheduling live webinars every quarter and hangouts at different conferences. Some benefits of certification is providing a clear path forward. It is a reflective process. Within each section, there are reflection questions to reflect back on the work that you're doing. It's a step-by-step transformation. It provides a community of practice, connecting with folks from around the U.S. and in Canada and even in Australia. Professional development and engagement, partnerships for collective impact, raising the profile of the library as a recognized leader on the topic of climate action and community resilience. So to access your free membership, you can visit the SLI website. We're going to drop the link into the chat so you can do that. You'll click on the participate button, click on SLI membership, choose the membership type, and fill out the form. Depending on the type of library that you are, whether a public library, academic, library system, or a school librarian. When you get to the How Did You Hear About Us section, select Other and enter that you are a member of whatever participating library association you are a member of in the notes field, and we will know to waive the membership fee. If you have any questions about the certification program, you can email sliadmin@suffolknet.org for more information and details. So with that, we are going to begin with our panel discussion. We are so happy to be welcoming 3 of our certified sustainable library directors who are very much involved in the SLI, and they're going to talk about their experiences going through the certification program. At this time, I'd like to welcome Janet Scherer, the director from the South Huntington Public Library, who became certified sustainable in 2021. Lisa Jacobs, library director at Longwood Public Library, who also became certified in 2021. And Lisa Kropp, library director of the Lindenhurst Memorial Library, also president of New York Library Association, who became certified in 2019. Good morning, welcome, and thank you for being here with us.
Thank you, Alex.
Hi.
So we're going to start by asking some questions, and we'll just kind of go down the line in that order that you see there, alphabetical, starting with Janet. So can you tell us a little bit about your library, what your service population is, maybe a demographic snapshot of your community and staff size?
Yeah, sure. And thank you, Alex. It's nice to be here and welcome everyone. So my library is, it's a public library, obviously, on the North Shore of Long Island, probably about an hour to an hour and 15 minutes east of New York City. Our population is about 38,000. The building is about 48,000 square feet. We have a staff of about 70 people. And our community is extremely diverse. A lot of newcomers entering our community now with all kinds of different, like Spanish is probably the most prevalent language, but we've got Haitian, Chinese, and Hindu. So it's a very diverse community.
All right, thank you. Lisa Jacobs, can you please give us a little bit of a snapshot of the Longwood Library community?
Sure. Good morning, everybody. So Longwood Public Library is located in Middle Island, smack in the middle of Suffolk County, which is on the eastern half of Long Island. We comprise 5 or 6 hamlets. So it's a very large school district of about 70,000 people. It is incredibly diverse. Of course, Spanish is one of the languages spoken here, but we also have pretty significant populations of Haitian speakers, Bengali, Turkish, Eastern European languages. We have a very diverse community. So our staff of 125 is kept very busy.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And Lisa Kropp,
Hi.
please share with us talk about Lindenhurst Memorial.
Sure. So Lindenhurst is located on the western side of western South Shore side of Suffolk County. We're close to Nassau County. The community that we serve is about almost 42,000 residents. About 15% of our population are Spanish speakers. Another 10 to 15% speak Polish. The community next door to us, Kopake, also has a significant Polish population. So we do a lot of collection development in those areas to be reflective of the community that we serve. We have a staff of about 49, 23 of those are full-timers. And we just are trying to get out into the community more and more. We also have 50 families currently living in the school district who are displaced from the Ukraine. And so one of the things we did with the school district requested that we take our library card application, we had it translated into Ukraine. So we have a Spanish, a Polish, and a Ukrainian library card application to try to engage with those different diverse areas of our community.
Awesome. And why that question is so important, I probably should have stated in the get-go, is because libraries of all different sizes and from different communities, as I mentioned before, are able to complete this work. It's not something that, you know, smaller libraries really should need to shy away from. Although of course the work can look daunting when you look at that action item form, but it really can be done, and it was created to that in a way that libraries of all sizes could complete the action items. So my next question, we'll go the other way. We'll stay with Lisa Kropp. What was the initial motivation for pursuing this certification, and how did you get started?
Well, my library in 2017 had a bond fail. And so that was a very demoralizing event, both for the community that did support the bond, but also for staff. It was crushing. It was soul crushing. And so I had heard about the Sustainable Library Initiative. At the time, it was living up at NYLA, and I had seen Rebecca Smith-Aldrich and Matt Ballerman talk about this kind of philosophy of incorporating this into your library. And so when the bond failed, I knew we needed something kind of positive that would kind of unite staff again and connect us to our community and give us an avenue that was very different than asking for money to engage with community members. And so in 2018, we jumped on board, and you'll see if you look at our final presentation, we were the third library to be certified. And so our process was a little different looking back then, because there was an outside partnership for the environmental piece. So you'll see things that say like Green Business Partnership, and that's now since been kind of sunset, and everything lives with the SLI. So all three, the components, the social, the financial, and the environmental, live in this new certification program. But it was very empowering for us to go through it.
Great. Lisa J., initial motivation for pursuing certification?
Well, yeah, we came to it a little differently. So our building had already been certified LEED Platinum can see my platinum sign behind me on the wall. After our building renovation that was completed in 2015, we were awarded LEED Platinum certification in the spring of 2017. And, that is the highest level of green building certification. So we had already kind of gone on that environmental journey. And to be honest, I didn't really think that there was anything to be gained initially by participating in the SLI until I was at a meeting I think the fall of 2020, where a lot of people from Suffolk County were talking about it and expressing interest and talking about the mindset and the sort of changed view and the lens that you apply to services and programs and all kinds of other aspects of running a library. And so that got me thinking, and we started talking to the board. And so we signed up, I think it was in February of 2021, or excuse me, it was fall of 2019, and it was February 2020 that we signed up. And I mistakenly thought that I'd be doing it during the shutdown, but that did not happen. So that's how we came to it. And I'm so glad that we decided to follow the SLI path.
Thank you. Janet, can you share with us your initial motivations for going through with certification?
Sure. So at the time that this program came out, I was the assistant director, but my background had been in youth services. So family and community were extremely important to me. I was always, out at PTA meetings and town meetings and knew that, or I felt anyway, that connection was so important to the library and the strength of our community. However, when I started to listen to presentations about this program, much like Lisa did, heard Rebecca and Matt speak, it was so validating to me because they were sort of saying what I could not put into words. It was just a feeling at that point. So it was very helpful to me to see that. So I was like in hook, line, and sinker. I have to admit I wasn't uh, too involved in the environmental piece of it. That wasn't my interest at the time, I'm ashamed to say, and I've learned so much since then about that. And then of course the financial piece of it came later. But then I was able to convince our director that this was an important program, and as well as our board, and that's how we started back in, I'd say, probably 2017.
Awesome. All right. Janet, next question's for you. Overall, what do you think the benefit of going through the certification program has been for your library?
There are so many benefits to this program. I mean, Lisa mentioned, this Lisa Jacobs, this whole mindset. Your whole mindset changes. How you view your community, how you view your staff, how you view even just purchasing paper in your building. It just changes. Every decision you make is seen through that lens of that triple bottom line. You want to know, is it socially equitable? Is it financially feasible? Is it environmentally sound? And when you do that, it just changes everything. For our staff, we were lucky enough to have a team to work on this together. So it was great to see all their mindsets change at the same time. As a result of this, we have an outreach committee that spans all the different departments. They're trying to get out into the community so they know how important it is. The silos are sort of breaking down. I don't know if anyone else experiences that in their libraries, but sometimes children's librarians work with children's librarians and that's it, an adult reference. And it's so nice to see them all work together for the good of the community and really listen. Like I started to see our staff listen to people. It wasn't just their view of what people needed. We all think we're the experts. We should know what people need, what people want. But that's not the case. We have to find out from them so that we can give them programs that are helpful to them. So for us, it was just a whole new, I'm going to say the word again, it was just a whole new mindset for us and how to work together and how to work with our community. It was so helpful.
Janet, you touched on, maybe at first you weren't, maybe so focused on the environmental side of things. I just want to ask, how do you kind of put together your team in-house of, creating a sustainability team within your staff? Like, what was the makeup of that?
So first we did a presentation much like this, sort of introducing it to them. Lisa Kropp had mentioned that in the beginning, back in 2017, 2018, there was a different way to enter this program. It was the Green Business Partnership, which is a lot of environmental. So we did have a presentation for that. So I put it out to staff and actually asked for volunteers because that's really the best way to start for us anyway. You wanted people who are interested in it. So a lot of those people did have that intrinsic interest in environmental issues. So that's how we started.
Very nice. Thank you.
And we got, I'd say probably about 6 or 7 people across the departments.
All right, Lisa Jacobs, what do you feel like the benefit overall has been for Longwood Public Library going through a certification?
Well, much like what Janet said, I think it's that I like to use the word lens. You use the word mindset, but for me, it's a lens that we use to look at the community and sort of evaluate, are we doing the right thing? Are we giving people what they need? Is this improving resilience in the community? Are we building those bonds? So I think that overall, the departments are really doing that in a way that they never were quite as effectively. I also think, again, you talked about breaking down those silos, and we're now doing these library-wide programs that it's a level of engagement that I think the community really likes to see things happening from all of the departments, and it's fun for promoting too, frankly. So those are some of the changes that I see here. Also, paper, yes.
Lisa, how about what benefits have you found?
Yeah, so I'll go with the word philosophy. I think it really became an embedded philosophy of service for us, which helped, like a library has policies, right? That those are like your general guiding rules. Then you have your procedures, you have a mission statement, a strategic plan, hopefully. And so by undergoing the certification process, we were able to touch all of those documents that kind of we use to run the library and embed this philosophy of sustainability that wasn't just environmental, that had this social equity piece, that had the financial sustainability piece. Lindenhurst, going back to that failed bond vote, in 2012, my community was decimated in Superstorm Sandy. Houses were south of Montauk Highway here were completely flooded, washed away, uninhabitable for months. And then I did not work here at that time, but the then library director knew that what the community needed in that moment was not necessarily craft programs and things of that nature, but he gave the one and only community room that we had over to FEMA for 9 months. And so there was this great community support that then over the next 5 to 7 years somehow dissipated and led to that failed vote. So doing the certification really allowed us to embed this philosophy of service and then go back out into our community and recognize that we were saying all of the things like, oh, we are a member of Chamber and Kiwanis and Rotary, but we weren't active members. And so there was a disconnect, and this certification program allowed us process, some of those action items where you're building partnerships with other not-for-profits, with a for-profit agency, just being the leader even in the environmental work, putting solar on our roof showed the community that we were, committed to saving them tax dollars, to lowering our budget lines where we could. So that was a huge benefit for us to start to build up that community support again, where people having that triple bottom line, you get people that are committed to the environmental, committed to the social equity, committed to financial, like those are the most important things for them. And we started building buckets of support and new advocates for the library. So that has been tremendous. And spoiler alert, we did pass a bond in 2019. Shortly after, we were certified in January, we did our bond vote in October, and we were able to renovate and expand the library and reopened almost 2 years ago to the day.
Lisa, you mentioned some of the challenges already, but were there any other challenges that you faced while working towards certification?
I think part of it was, there's a staff survey that you put out in the beginning, and what surprised me is almost, and because this never happens, right? Like you'll get 100% sign up with patrons for a library program, and then 70% show up. You ask your staff feedback for something and you never get consensus. But when we did the staff survey, we had like 100% of staff like, yeah, this matters to us. We think the library needs to be doing more in these areas. And so the challenge for us was sustaining that momentum and that level of involvement, because we started the process in we went through it. It took us about a year and a half. And so you have to really be committed and organized to move things forward, because if you look at the action items, and there are a lot of them, it can be overwhelming. So for us, we just kept chipping away and tried to meet that challenge. And then some of them were brand new things that we never did before in libraries, like a waste audit. So that was a little challenging. But when we finally did it, it was really super interesting. And if you told teenage Lisa she would be interested in analyzing garbage, I would have been like, you're nuts. But we saw ways that we could reduce, reuse, and recycle that we weren't, and then that saves money too, because now I'm not emptying my dumpster as often. So the challenges weren't negative challenges, I would say. They were positive challenges, and it was just figuring out ways to keep moving forward.
That's a good way to put it. Absolutely. Lisa Jacobs, any challenges that you found while going on your path towards certification?
Well, the biggest challenge we had was that we did sign up just before the start of COVID. And so we were actually going through this process for the first year and a half of the pandemic, and couldn't gather. And I mean, we didn't even see each other in person for, a few months after we signed up. We were also part of the previous version of the SLCP with the Green Business Partnership. So most of that information was actually entered without a green team. It was the head custodian at the time, and me, and the building project manager, and sort of a couple of staff questions here and there for the green piece. And then when we got to the rest of the process, it was, how do we involve everyone when we're really not gathering too much? And so that was a little bit of a challenge, but I guess it was a way to bond also during that time. So so that was an unusual thing.
Absolutely. Janet, can you share some challenges that you faced?
I think for us, COVID was huge. Yeah, COVID came about, and we were not able to do anything during COVID. The librarians our staff was doing so many other things, right? Learning like a whole new job. So we sort of put it on hold. So COVID kind of set us back a little bit, but then we were able to get back. So it's just really finding the time, the organization, getting everyone together who are busy as it is. I once had someone tell me that I, as an administrator, shouldn't be the person who's driving the train as far as the whole committee goes, because I'm going to get pulled in a million different directions. And then that worked well for us. We sort of assigned another staff member to be, the head of the committee, so that they could keep things rolling if I wasn't able to attend the meeting. Because right in the middle of this, my job changed too. I became director, so I was learning a new job at the same time. I know that that's not possible for every library. There are smaller libraries where you don't have that kind of staff. So I am aware of that. It's just something that happened in our library. Mhm.
All right. So, is there any advice that you could lend to library leaders who may face challenges getting buy-in from their library board or administration? Perhaps you could provide some suggestions on ways to talk about the program to help people see the value in it. Janet.
So for me, this actually came up very quickly because, as I said before, my entry into this was more the social equity piece, that community type thing. And my director at the time, that wasn't necessarily his thing. He really wasn't seeing what I was seeing. He wasn't understanding what the draw was, feeling like it was going to be a lot of work and didn't have the time. But his interest was very much financial. He was the director of the library. He was in charge of the budget and getting the community to pass our budget so that we were able to get our tax funding. So for that, that was his entry. So I was able to sort of skew the presentation towards the financial piece of it and what we could learn from that and how it could help us financially. So there are a lot of different entry points into this program. So finding one that works for your administration or your board is what I feel is a good way to go.
Thank you. Lisa Jacobs, any advice for people who may face some opposition getting that buy-in?
Well, I think Janet hit it right on the head. I mean, the different people have different interests. So finding out what's important to your audience, whether it's the board, whether it's another administrator, whether it's the staff or your community, what is of value to them. Ultimately, making the changes to the building that led to the green piece, the environmental piece, that does save the community money over time. So, that also has a financial impact. That is something that many people can get behind, even if they can't get behind sort of the philosophical point of it.
Very nice. And Lisa, what can you provide any suggestions on ways to kind of frame that discussion? How to talk about the program.
Yeah, I think, in my case, I was the assistant director at the time and I brought it to the board. So there was a level of a top-down effect of starting the program. And I've seen many other libraries do it the opposite way. And a lot of the smaller libraries that I mentor, they do it more from the bottom up, right? Like it is library staff who are attending conferences or presentations, or they see a webinar and they're interested in this personally and they're bringing it to administration. So my advice would be, because I think sometimes we're so siloed within our own buildings, and I have an idea of what my staff all do, right? Because I'm the one coming up with their job descriptions. I'm not entirely sure that sometimes staff fully understand all of the things that administrators, like their director, assistant director, are doing, because the job is so much not public, it's public facing, but not public desk facing. And so sometimes you might feel that you're getting dismissed, or, you know, kind of like, no, we don't have time, we don't have time. So my advice would be, if you are interested in this, to bring it to your administration or your library board with possible solutions in place already. You know, that this is something that you're very committed to, and other staff, you've talked with other staff members and they are, and here's your plan to like try it out, to here's, you know, to get it going. We love the word pilot program at my library, because it really, we did that with our board when we went fine free. We were like, let's pilot it with just the kids, because that's a good thing, right? And it gives a way to, they feel a safety net. They could try it, and if it doesn't work, you can pull back. So I would go with a plan in place, kind of volunteering, like, hey, this is important to me, and I am volunteering to be the point person, and to work with you. And I think that that is helpful. And also finding some of those community organizations that also are doing work in one of those three areas, and kind of building that support already too, so you have like a foundation to go present this to the board. And I think that just showing that initiative is so amazing to the board and your administrators to see, that they'll be like, go for it.
Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you, everyone, for your great answers. With that, we are going to open it up to our participants for any questions they may have for the panelists.
You know, Alex, could I just add one
Go ahead.
other thing? I think just going back to that question about the benefit of this program, and I think for each of us here on this panel, you know, certainly Lisa talked about it during Superstorm Sandy. I think we're learning after going through this program how important it is for climate mitigation too, to prepare our communities for what is coming. You know, we just saw what happened in Florida. You know, do we want another Superstorm Sandy up here? No, but do we think it might happen? Probably. So this program gives so many ideas and resources and ways to prepare our communities for that type of thing. I know in our library, we were able to get a building generator so that we can keep our power when so many in the community are losing power. As Lisa mentioned, they opened up their community room to FEMA. I mean, these are things that libraries are going to need to do to help our communities be more resilient and to recover from these things that sadly are going to continue to happen. So I just didn't want that to get lost in all of this. You know, preparing for the future is huge.
That's a really great point, Janet. Thank you for sharing that. And I do actually, I have one more question I'd like to ask our panelists is there a right time to join the certification program? Janet, you want to start?
Well, no, I mean, if you're interested, just get started. I mean, this is a process, you know, nobody's rushing you. You're going to have a mentor to work with you. Just start. Just start at the beginning and you know, you'll get there.
I agree. It's kind of
yeah.
like anything else in life where you say there's never a good time. You just do it. And because there's no timeline, it takes the pressure off, in a sense, that you don't have to do this in 6 months or 12 months, so that it's adaptable. Because some of the libraries, you know, we have a cohort of libraries in Vermont, they might have a staff of like less than 10 people, less than 5 people maybe. So that has to be scalable, right? So it's just doing it. And especially if you're one of if you live in a state that has the MOA and you get that, you know, small break in the pricing of it, you know, lock it in and start, and then just know that you have the time to do it thoughtfully, which is really the best way of doing it anyway, is not rushing through it and taking the time that you need in your library, because every single place is different with what they need in order to accomplish it.
And I'll just add a saying, as all three of us are former youth services people, it's the process, not the product. So it's about the journey. So get started on the journey as soon as you can.
Wonderful. Thank you. Those were all great answers. So does anyone have any questions? If you'd like, you can put it in the chat. Unmute yourself if you'd like. Raise your hand any way. Michelle, go ahead.
Yeah, so I was just kind of coming off of what Lisa was just saying. I'm the director of Kennebunk Free Library in Kennebunk, Maine, and talking about the libraries that are much smaller, you know, maybe that 5 to 10 that you'll find in Vermont. My library is one of the larger ones in the state, and our service population is about 16,000. And I'm trying to think of more of those smaller places to try and encourage them to get involved as well. And knowing that, you know, if we're trying to pair them with a group maybe that's gone through the process at that smaller level. And I'll say it just not just some Long Islander, as that Long Islander who has moved to Maine, I kind of know how that can come across sometimes. So that would be helpful, I know, for some of the smaller groups that might be interested, or, you know, just thinking about taking those first few steps, because that's a number of our libraries here where they're extremely small. And I think that the hurdles here aren't so much convincing staff, because we're so tight knit since there's, you know, smaller groups, but that it's more or less how is it all going to be feasible for the sizes.
It's a really great point. Really, absolutely.
Can I just comment on that, Michelle? I'm one of the 2 mentors for the Vermont cohort, and I'm not sure actually how many libraries are in that cohort because it seems to change all the time. But they do have monthly meetups, and I think that's very helpful, especially for the smaller libraries, that they chime in when they can, because a lot of these are like a one-woman show when it comes to the process. And so it's very helpful for the smaller libraries in particular to have that sort of validation and that support that they get through those meetups. And I know that Hazel, who is one of our mentors in Maine, is trying to get some of those other state meetups going. So that might be something that could happen for Maine also.
Yeah, thank you.
Absolutely. We're definitely working on getting a listserv together, getting groups from similar areas to kind of get together. I see Amy put in the chat. We will have quarterly Maine meetups starting December 5th at 10 a.m. So that's an example. Information will be going out soon to Maine librarians. So that's a good example of you know, the initiatives that we're trying to, you know, begin at the, you know, more, you know, geographically close areas. We do have a question in the chat from Roberta Richards. For academic libraries with multiple locations on different campuses, would the certification be for the whole library system, or could you certify one particular campus library? Does anybody want to take that, or I can certainly take it?
I think that's an Alex question.
All right. So you can, yes, you can get certified for the one particular campus library. I would suggest maybe scheduling a call with us. That way we can learn more about your specific location and size. And that way we'd be able to kind of provide some clarification. So we're happy to schedule a Zoom call with you. And kind of dig into that a little bit deeper. But yes, it's absolutely doable. My screen is kind of shorting out there for a second.
Alex, like our public libraries in the academic world, it all depends on structure, how that library is structurally set up with their main campus. Just like we have municipal libraries in the public world, and we have, you know, school district libraries, we have all different types. So, you know, we're able to, you know, make it work for whatever your specific atmosphere is, but we just need to discuss it a little more with you and get to the specifics with Nardia.
Thank you, Roger. Thank you. Any other questions? You can again drop it in the chat. feel free to, raise your hand, unmute yourself.
Hi, Alex. This is Anna from Australia. So it's almost 2 a.m. in Brisbane, but this is really timely for some conversations that I'm going to be having with our organization this week and hopefully progress towards our 10 libraries being part of a pilot program in Australia. But I just want to say thank you. And I may be in touch further. I did visit a bunch of Suffolk County libraries in July when I was visiting from Australia, but I'm a public librarian in Australia and hope to be in touch soon. But I'm also going to go to bed soon and not try and ask a complicated question.
That's dedication.
Yes.
I'm not getting paid for this.
It's great to hear your voice, Anna. Thank you for joining us, and thank you for adding that. We appreciate you being here, in such early in the morning. Thank you. Lisa, you have your hand raised. Go ahead.
Yes. I'm director of a library in Connecticut that's a municipal library in a town that's fairly fiscally conservative, and I'm concerned about the cost of the modifications that might be necessary to the building for the environmental, needs that come up. So I'm not sure how to address that.
I'm not sure that there are dedicated costs, Lisa. Like we chose and we had the capital funding to do the solar or to put electric vehicle chargers on our building. Some of it is, as the philosophy side of it again, is as maybe your infrastructure ages out, like you need to replace a 40-year-old boiler. The certification process kind of is that you're embedding in your policies, you're going to replace that boiler with an energy efficient boiler, which then actually saves you money long term. When you have to replace lighting, you're going to go with LED lighting. So there might be smaller upfront costs because some of those things cost more money. Like we all mentioned paper. Most of us switched over to buying partially recycled copier paper, which might have a slightly higher cost, but it's offset by some of the other savings that you find in between. I'm not sure if that makes sense.
That actually makes a lot of sense and makes me feel better because as things break, we are actually replacing them with more energy efficient things anyway. So
yeah, see, so you're doing it.
Okay, good.
And
thank you.
I would say, Lisa, what I add and tell people that ask that question, usually about the cost. This isn't LEED certification program where and Lisa Jacobs can attest to the cost of being a LEED certified building. We're all here from the library industry, we're library people. We get it. We know your fiscal responsibilities. We know what kind of situation you're in. So this isn't an outside agency saying, spend all this money to do that, to be certified. It's the philosophy of what we're doing and the mindset of what we're doing and saying, yes, we know you don't have the money to do all of this, but we're helping you plan for your future. All right, I want to do LED lighting. I want to do thermal insulated windows. I want to do solar. We're helping you develop that plan 3, 4, 5 years down the road to get ourselves to that point. And if you're doing that planning, you're sustainable. If you're not doing that planning, you're not sustainable. So that's what the program is. It isn't about here, open up the wallet and spend everything now, do geothermal, do this. Do what you can when you can, but make it ingrained in your policies that that's the road you're on. And that's what, is really important to us about doing something now. Get on that road now. You don't have to be there and get everything done, but be on the road and commit to that road.
Well
Very
said.
helpful. Thank you. And we're already on that road, so now I'm feeling much better.
Perfect.
Thanks.
Thank you. We do have another question in the chat. Catherine Webb asks if we have an active makerspace, which does have quite a bit of waste, is this still possible for our library?
Yes.
Yes, we have that too. And we've done whatever we can to, reuse and recycle. And we do buy one of those waste boxes for our leftover PLA or whatever it is, the stuff from the 3D printers. So yes, it's still possible.
Yeah, and think about all the great things you could do with that garbage too. Our youth services department has this great program that they do yearly. It's called Trash in Fashion. So they take they take any kind of like garbage type things like that, and the kids make these incredible outfits out of it, and they have this big fashion show with the runway, and so you can do so much.
And think about all the things that you're keeping out of your purchase stream because you're making them yourselves now. So now you're not buying a trinket or buying a thing to give away or a craft that's coming from across the globe and putting all those miles on it. You know, you might be sourcing locally the lumber or the wood or the PLA, whatever it might be. But, you know, there's an upside and it's never perfection. It's let's do it better than we've been doing it. So, you know, we're not, you know, an organization that says, here's the perfect exact way to do things. It's what's right in your community. And just doing it one step better than you've been doing it is better than we were doing it yesterday.
Thank you. So there is one more question in the chat. Since we're getting close to the hour mark, we're gonna make this the last question, but please feel free to reach out, email sliadmin@suffolknet.org if you have any other questions that come up following this meeting, the webinar. Savannah Monroe asks, once our small rural library is SLI certified, will it qualify us for specific grant opportunities?
I would say to that, no, there is nothing specific. It depends what grants are out there. Grants change all the time, the parameters, the requirements of them. Will it make you prepared? Yes. When you do that final certification PowerPoint, it's a powerful tool for you to go to your community, your stakeholders, grant holders, because you're already showing, here, this is what I've been doing over the last year and a half, 2 years. These are the strides we've made with the money we have. This is the savings we're realizing. And you have your story already built out for that grant application. You're saying we're doing these great things, but I need more money to continue doing the great things, because that last slide shows the things I want to do that I haven't done yet, but this is our future. So although it doesn't make you eligible for a particular grant, it's going to help you when you find grants that you want to apply for, being prepared for them.
Thank you, Roger. And with that, we are right at the hour mark there. We put in the chat the link to access your free membership. Again, feel free to reach out to sliadmin.suffolknet@suffolknet.org with any questions. I do want to thank our panelists, Janet Scherer, Lisa Jacobs, and Lisa Kropp. Thank you so much for your time and your time this morning and for agreeing to do this. Thank you, Roger Reyes, for your input as well. And thank you for everyone who joined us and asked questions and was here with us this morning. We look forward to meeting you and, you know, we'll talk to you soon.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye, everybody.